Good morning, everyone. Today is May 7th. You should have your notes written down before you begin this video. If you do not have them written down, go ahead and pause the video. This is page 13 in your notebook, so make sure you have a 13 in the top right-hand corner. We're going to go ahead and begin with the warm-up. It says identify the vertex and if it opens up or down. So this is based on the A value. So the A value is the number that is in front of the parentheses. So is that positive or negative? It is positive, so it's going to open up. And remember, I like to draw a little sketch just so I know what it would look like if we were to go to graph it. Now I need to identify the vertex. To identify the vertex, we take the opposite of this value. So if that's a -4, it's going to be a +4. And then we don't change this number right here. So therefore, our vertex is 4, 5. And what letters do our vertex make up? H and K. How come they don't make up X and Y? Does anyone know? If you look at the problem, do you see that there's already an X and a Y in the problem? So you can't have another X and Y in the same problem. That's why they have to pick another letter. Okay, moving on to 2. Does it open up or down? The A value right here is negative, so therefore it opens down. It's a sad graph. Now let's find the vertex. So to find the H value, it's the opposite of what's inside. So if this is a positive one, what's the opposite of that? -1. And you keep this guy the same, so that's going to be -4. So your vertex, which is the center point of the graph, is -1, -4. You guys should be able to do number 3. Go ahead and pause the video and do number 3. Okay, I got that it opens up. And my vertex is -2, 0. Where did I get that 0 from? It's on the outside right here. So there is no number here, so that means there is 0. All right, moving on to our notes. We've got 5 problems. We are now going to graph in vertex form. And let me tell you, this is the easiest one to graph in vertex form. So step 1, you have your problem, and we need to identify the vertex. Okay, well, we know that our standard form of a vertex is where our vertex is HK. So what's the opposite of this value right here? +1, and we keep this value the same, 2. So our vertex is 1, 2. Now in order to graph this, we have to make a table because we need more than just the vertex. So we made our table, and notice that I put a box right here in the middle. Why did I do that? Because that's going to be the spot that my vertex is going to be in. So we've made tables before, so it shouldn't look that weird. But we need to pick 2 points to the left of 1 and 2 points to the right. Now remember, 1 is on a number line. This is a number line. So if 1 is right here, we need 2 points to the left of it. So that would be 0 and -1. And you can pick any numbers to the left. It doesn't have to be these 2. And then 2 numbers to the right would be 2 and 3. So now that we have our X, how are we going to get the Y? We're going to plug it into the formula. So if I start with 0, I have to write it out. 0 minus 1 squared plus 2. Now that's my original problem. So now I have to actually do it. So what's 0 minus 1? Hopefully you said -1. What's -1 squared? So we get 1 plus 2, so my final number is 3. So my coordinate is 0, 3. Okay, let's plug in -1. -1 minus 1 squared plus 2. Again, I go back to the same formula that they gave me in the beginning of the problem every time. -1 minus 1. They're the same sign, so you add. What's negative 1 minus 1? Negative 2. So we need to square negative 2, which is 4, and 4 plus 2 gives me 6. Now let's plug in 2 and 3. I plug in 2, I get 2 minus 1 squared plus 2. What is 2 minus 1? That is 1, and 1 squared is 1, so I get 1 plus 2, which is 3. What do you see? Notice that this one's a 3 too. So what do you think this is going to be? 6, because that's what I found right here. Now, the only reason why these match is because they are both 1 point away and then 2 points away. If you picked a point that was 5 points away, it's not going to match with a point that's, let's say, 3 points away from the vertex. It has to be even, hence why you have a axis of symmetry, which cuts the parabola in half to make it symmetric. So now I can go ahead and graph this. I start with my vertex over to the right one up 2. I put a V for vertex. Now I graph every other point. Over 2 up 3 is my first point. 0, 3. And then negative 1 up 6. And 3 up 6. And I connect my dots and you have a perfect parabola. So again, on my vertex, if I were to draw my axis of symmetry, which is a vertical line down the middle, and I folded this graph, it would match because the points that we picked are symmetric to one another. Okay, let's move on to number 2. First step, find the vertex. So the opposite of negative 3, which is 3, and you keep this value. So that guy is my vertex. I need 2 numbers to the left of 3 and 2 numbers to the right of 3. I'm going to pick 2 and 1 and 4 and 5. So because 2 is 1 point away from 3 and 4 is 1 point away, the y values will match for these, and same with 1 and 5. So you really only have to do one set, either 1 and 2 or 4 and 5. If that doesn't make sense to you, rewind the video and listen to what I said again. Sometimes it takes a couple times for me to say it for it to click. I'm going to plug in 1 here. So I'm going to write small. 1 minus 3 squared minus 4. Now it's a little bit of order of operations here. 1 minus 3. I'm going to go above it. That's negative 2. Now I have to do negative 2 squared before I multiply by 3. So what's negative 2 squared? 4. And then 3 times 4 is 12. And 12 minus 4 is 8. So if 1 is 8, so is 5. Now let's do 2. Two minus 3 is negative 1. Hopefully you guys know what negative 1 squared is. That's 1. And then I do 3 times 1 minus 4, which is negative 1. So because 2 is negative 1, 4 is negative 1. Now before we graph it, which way is our graph opening, up or down? You should have said up because it's positive. So now let's graph. 3, negative 4 over 1, 2, 3, down negative 4. I put a V for my vertex. Now I go 4, negative 1. I do 2, negative 1. So again, they match. They're on the same line. Then I go 5 all the way up 8. I'm just going to guess this. And 1 up 8. And then last but not least, you make a U. Yes, we know I can't draw straight lines. Make sure it's curved. It's not a V. And there you have number 2. Okay. Okay, number 3, you're probably going to need a calculator. So go ahead and get a calculator. Also, I would pause the video and try the rest on my own. Okay, my vertex for 3, 1, 0. Opposite of -1, there's no number here, it's 0. So I need 2 numbers to the left, 2 numbers to the right. I'm going to plug it in now. Let's do 1 and 2 now, since we did the top 2 last time. So I plug in 1 here. What's 1 minus 1? 0. What's... Oh, that's what I did wrong. Silly. Should have done 2 and 3. My bad. Alright, 2 minus 1. 1. 1 squared is 1. 1 times 1/2, you can write that as 0.5. So 0 would be 0.5. Now we plug in 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. What's 2 squared? 4. Then what's 1/2 times 4? That's just saying what's 4 cut in half? 2. So there you go. My vertex is at 1, 0. I put a V. It's going to open up. So my coordinate is at 2, of course, where I put my V, 0.5, 0, 0.5, -1 up 2, and 3 up 2. So this is kind of like a short and wide graph. This is kind of gets into the stretch and the compression because of that 1/2. If you guys remember that. Okay, moving on to 4 and 5. Again, this is a good time to pause the video and go ahead and try 4 and 5 because these are pretty easy. My vertex is 1, 4. This time it's going to be opening down because of that negative sign. Now I'm going to pick 2 and 3, and then 0 and -1. Again, I just pick 2 to the left, 2 to the right, make it easy. Now I plug it in to get my y value. Let's do the bottom 2 again. So we do have that negative on the outside you have to be careful of. So you have 2 minus 1 squared plus 4. So do the inside parentheses first. What's 2 minus 1? 1. And what's 1 squared? 1. But I still have that negative on the outside. So you really have -1 plus 4, which is 3. So if 2 is 3, so is 0. Now I plug in 3. I have that negative on the outside. So 3 minus 1 squared plus 4. What's 3 minus 1? 2. You're not squaring that negative sign. You only square the 2. So that's 4. Oh, this is cool. What's -4 plus 4? 0. So my y-coordinate is 0. So I graph 1 up 4. V for my vertex, we know it's going down. 0, 3, 2, 3. -1, 0, and 3, 0, and there you go. A sad graph. Oh, didn't even see that. There you go. Okay, last one, number 5. You're going to do it on your own. Pause the video now. Okay, you guys should be finishing up on number 5 if you're watching the video. I hope you did it on your own and now you're just checking your answers. That is the end of our lesson for graphing in Vertex Form. You are now able to complete your exit ticket and make sure you turn in your notes. If you have any questions, just go ahead and ask. Have a good day.